You know, I've I've been thinking. I've been thinking about Christopher Michael Benoit, and I know I already did a short 2 minute and 8 second video on him, asking people to debate whether he was in his right mind or not. I'm going to tell you right now that I debated on whether to do this video. I debated whether to do this video or not, because I knew that from wrestling fan to wrestling fan, I would probably get demolished in the comments. But let me put it to you. Let me put it to you like this. If I don't share my opinion on something, if no one stands up for anyone when they can't stand up for themselves anymore, then what does that do? What does that do? What does that do? I can tell you exactly what it does. When you can stand up for something, or whether you can just tell Chris Benoit to go straight to hell and you want nothing to do with him. I have tried to justify that Chris Benoit was a great wrestler, but no one, it seems like no one on this planet sees that way anymore. Because it's all because of what he did. Maybe he killed his wife. Maybe he killed his son. Maybe he killed himself. But we don't know. Now, I'm not going to create a conspiracy theory because there's a whole lot of those out there. But all I'm going to tell you is this, is that we know that 3 people are dead. Benoit. Kurt Angle said it. Benoit was more intense than Brock Lesnar. And damn, I say this. Damn, I say this, that he was more technically sound than Bret Hart. Now all the haters of Benoit will say, oh, why do you still talk about him? Why do you still do this? Why do you still do that? He's a murderer, yada, yada, yada. Well, I can tell you this much. The haters of Benoit were once fans of Benoit, and the only reason why they hate Benoit to this day is because of what he did. Now, I've even tried to justify Chris Benoit to the Hall of Fame, but everyone doesn't like that. Everyone hates that idea that a great wrestler could be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hell, Owen Hart deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And because of Martha, he's not. Benoit at WrestleMania 23 faced MVP Montel Vontavious Porter in a match for the United States title, and he won the damn thing. At Vengeance, we were going to get a dream match. Chris Benoit versus CM Punk. But that night, that pay-per-view, he didn't show up. No one knew why. I mean, the night after Vengeance. Well, let me say this. The ECW. No, I believe it was. It was for the ECW World Title. And it was CM Punk versus Johnny Nitro. But it wasn't supposed to be Nitro. It was supposed to be Benoit. But because Benoit didn't show up, they put Nitro in his place. And Punk dropped the belt to Nitro, as everyone knows. Everyone says... When I was in Wrestle Nation, everyone told me to shut my mouth. Everyone told me to shut up, to shut my mouth, and not to post about Chris Benoit because they didn't want to hear anything about Chris Benoit because all that could happen. All that was said is that Chris Benoit was a murderer and that no one should ever speak of him. I even had a person in the group saying that I'm sick and tired of you because I was a Chris Benoit fan then and I'm not now. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. That's like one of the greatest. That's like if Bruno Sammartino never got into the Hall of Fame. It doesn't make any sense. And you know, everyone wants to say that his legacy ended when I'm going to say allegedly because we don't know what happened and we may not know exactly what will happen. But everyone assumes, everyone says that Benoit, oh, don't talk about Benoit. Oh, who's Chris Benoit? Oh, who? Chris who? Who was the World Heavyweight Champion in 2005? Who? It's like... I'm real passionate about this subject because of one reason. Love me, hate me for this comment, but I will always be a Chris Benoit fan. Now does that mean I justify what he could have done? No. But you know, I can see it from a neutral point of view. People don't want to talk about Chris Benoit because Chris Benoit, to them, is like O.J. Simpson. Only O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Now, people say that they don't respect Benoit, that they used to be fans of Benoit, but because of what he did, they're no longer fans. That they isolate themselves from perhaps the best technical wrestler, perhaps the best. If you go, Chris Benoit's matches were incredible. From Angle to Jericho to Triple H and Shawn Michaels. But you see, there's a little something that I like to call conspiracy theories. And there's also a thing that I like to call people just need to shut their mouths. Because you see, Benoit lost Eddie Guerrero in 2005. And everyone was saddened about that. But the WWE, the night after Vengeance was Monday Night Raw. And everyone was wanting to see what would happen since the last time Vince got into his limo and it exploded. But Raw came on. No one was there. I thought to myself, that's pretty odd. And then I find out the news of Benoit's passing. From social media. No, not from social media, but from the news. It's like this. I got really mad at the WWE. I really did. I was furious at the WWE because they had the tribute show, right? But then the next night on ECW, Vince McMahon comes on and he says, basically to the lines of this, we are extremely sorry that we put on a tribute show for Chris Benoit. We take all of that back. And that my speech here, that no one will ever speak about Chris Benoit again. There will be no mention of him. Now I understand that's a business strategy to erase bad publicity. But doesn't change the fact that it happened. Doesn't change the fact that the steroid trial happened right in the middle of the Monday Night Wars. Doesn't change the fact that Benoit was, I'm gonna steal Bret Hart's catchphrase, he was probably the best there is, the best there was, and the best there goddamn ever will be! Benoit was a workhorse. Benoit never missed a house show. Benoit never He never missed a single event. He never missed it. He never missed his family. He loved his fans. He loved the wrestling business. In fact, when a few days after Benoit had passed from allegedly hanging himself, Christopher Nowinski called, said he would like to examine Chris Benoit's brain. And so Christopher Nowinski does examine Benoit's brain. Turns out he had the brain of an 85-year-old patient with Alzheimer's. Turns out that Benoit, even if he did do it, wasn't in his own mind. But you know what? People don't look at it like that. People just look at Benoit as a tainted name. As someone that doesn't... As someone that's a child and wife killer. But people justify killing his wife? But Daniel was off limits? Okay. I'm gonna take you on a journey back to WCW. Now, there are a lot of conspiracy theories. There are a lot of things we do not know. There are a lot of things that we don't care. But you know something? Back in WCW, Nancy's ex-husband, Kevin Sullivan, was the booker. He was also a wrestler under the name The Taskmaster. The Taskmaster. Kevin, storyline-wise, told Chris and Nancy to be together. Well, guess what? It started out as storyline, but it ended up in real life. And why? Why? Because Kevin Sullivan basically booked his divorce. But, you know something? That's back in WCW. WCW is now dead. Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero are both dead. But people can talk about Eddie freely. because of an accidental overdose. Because of an enlarged heart due to years of drug abuse. But it seems like Chris Benoit's name can't be mentioned. It seems like Chris Benoit's name can't be mentioned because no one wants to hear the name. No one wants to hear the truth. And the truth is that he was one hell of a wrestler. He was one hell of a performer. And am I justifying what could have allegedly happened that day during the course of that weekend? No. But I've actually taken a look at the crime photos. I found them on the internet. I took a look at the text messages. I was really involved in the case after it closed because I wanted closure. I did not want. I still don't think to this day that Benoit killed his family. Because there's just a whole lot of red flags. I mean, the media wanted to say, oh, it's steroids. Oh, he was juicing his son. He put the crippler crossface on his son. There's just so much. You see, there is just so much. There is just so much that the media didn't know, but they were reporting it anyway. Now, if you want to talk about bad journalism, look no further than Nancy Disgrace. Yes, I said disgrace because there is no grace to Nancy Grace. I found a YouTube video and she was basically saying that Benoit had a doctor and Johnny Grunge's case was being reopened because of the whole Chris Benoit incident. Because they had the same doctor. And then I heard guests saying, I especially heard this one guest say that she goes, no deal for this drug. No deal for this drug doctor. Not only was he the patient of 2 wrestlers that are now dead, but what about all the teenage boys? What about all the teenage boys that inject steroids so they can look like they're heroes? Chris Benoit, Johnny Grunge. I talked to my best friend over video chat. And he said, and I told him, and he goes, that's just crazy. You know what I call Nancy Grace? I call her the female Donald Trump because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And yet, people look up to Nancy Grace when all she does is do bad journalism. In fact, she looks down on professional wrestling because there's so many young deaths. There was a death list that Mark Marrow, and Mark, I really love what you're doing with your life now. But you know, at least WWE has Chris Benoit's matches on the network now. But this is what I seem to be crazy. Chris, at the beginning of every Chris Benoit match, whether it be the Royal Rumble 2004 or whether it be WrestleMania 20, there's a disclaimer that says every character is fictional. Not true. Chris Benoit portrayed himself. Mark Marrow portrayed himself. Terry Funk portrayed himself. And I could go on and on and on. But you know, I'm just going to leave it at this. Whether I get a lot of heat for this video or whether I don't. Whether I get views or whether I don't. At least I had the courage to make this video because I wasn't going to. But I did. And I feel better now that I got everything off my chest. I'm a Chris Benoit fan, and I will always be a Chris Benoit fan. I'm Christopher Box, and you can believe that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you liked my video, like, comment, subscribe, share. If you did not like, comment, subscribe, share,